This is episode 68 of the Respawn Aim Fire podcast. We are the kick-ass, irreverent gaming podcast, formerly known as Split Screen Gaming Podcast. How many times can I say podcast? Well, here's some water. It's been a while since we've started an episode with a water pour. I meant to open it this way, but then I didn't have the water in my hands fast enough. And so I was like, well, gotta say hey and ramp it up.
Because we can't just, re-record or anything. That's crazy.
You can't say re. It's socially unacceptable.
Oh, it is? Re-record. I don't care.
Oh my god, I can't believe you. Oh man, we have some stuff for you today. We're going to talk about our game of the year so far, kind of looking at what's come out this year, reviewing it. We're going to look at what we've played. Holden's played some Octopath. I think everything on this list we've already talked about before, so that might go pretty quickly. We're going to talk about Dead Space, what could have been, about Crackdown 3, because everyone's interested in that. But first, we're going to talk about the biggest news. I got Invisalign this morning. So I'm going to have a little bit of a... Yeah, thank you. So that's the next 60 episodes of our podcast. I'm going to try to say as many S words as I can.
I mean, I can't audibly tell that you have Invisalign, so that's good.
Shall she shall try to she sure.
Okay, now it's really bad.
You're really bad. I'm bad.
I am bad.
I'm bad, but no, really. Let's talk about the Uncharted fan film that yesterday, Monday, July 16th, Mr. Nathan Fillion released. Did you watch it?
I did watch it.
It is a 15-minute short from director, what is his name? Alan Ungar.
Alan Ungar.
Has a few of those, people, that guy who is in that thing, where, I know I've seen his face somewhere, and I don't know his name, or I don't know where it was, but I've definitely seen him before. It has quite a lot of those actors in it. And it's a completely fan-made film. It is not licensed.
It's unaffiliated with Sony at
Exactly.
all.
Not affiliated with Sony or Naughty Dog. What are your thoughts on it?
It was cool, I guess. I don't know. I don't really have strong feelings about Uncharted to begin with. But it was...
Well, right, because you have no soul.
Because I have no soul, absolutely. No, but I've always thought that Nathan Fillion was the perfect Drake. Just Nathan Drake, just simply because of his persona and who he is. But also he looks identical to him.
They do look very similar.
They look very, very similar. So he was the perfect choice for that. But yeah, I mean, it was pretty cool, I guess. It was kind of witty banter, just like you'd expect. I thought that Nathan Fillion filled that role of Nathan Drake very well. Everything he said, I'm like, yeah, I can see that being said in a cutscene of Uncharted. Question for you: was the setting? It was Albuquerque?
No, it was.
It looked like they said Albuquerque something in the beginning of it. I missed it. I thought.
No, it was fucking something else in Mexico or something. I don't know.
Oh, okay. For a second, I could have sworn it said Albuquerque, and I'm like, no, it's not.
No, it was not.
That doesn't look like Albuquerque. That's not Albuquerque.
It was just okay. A lot of people were like, "Oh my god, this is what we deserve. Make a whole movie out of this." It was just okay. The dialogue I thought was lazy. All the acting was bad. I've never really liked...
I don't know if it was lazy dialogue. It was just nothing special about it. But it did feel like dialogue that could be said in Uncharted.
I guess, maybe. What I felt was the worst...
Not as funny as Uncharted dialogue.
Oh, definitely not. What I felt was the worst is, all of the characters, I feel like... And this is something that I've always thought of Nathan Fillion in general... But Nathan Fillion, the guy who played Sully, the girl who played... they were all caricatures of themselves instead of actual characters. And it's just you're not believable at all. You're just playing this...
Do you think that's because it's a 15-minute short?
Yeah, but also,
that's basically one long scene?
It's so cheeky, and it's so... I don't know. I just didn't enjoy it. Enjoy it.
Well, everyone's like, I want this to go further. And I'm like, well, this looks like a web series. So, at best, if they're going to do anything with this going forward, it would be a cheeky web series. Yeah. I don't think it was bad, but I see what you mean. It was definitely kind of cheesy.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm just not a Nathan Fillion fan like everyone else is. I enjoyed him in Dr. Horrible, but...
I liked him in Firefly. That was a good show.
I never watched Firefly. I don't know. Everything I've ever seen him in, he's just he's Nathan Fillion. And he's just this...
yeah, he's always Nathan Fillion. But Nathan Fillion happens to be a lot like Nathan Drake.
They do look very similar.
I think they kind of act similarly as well.
Your mom.
Watch Firefly and tell me that he's not.
I watched an
Nathan
episode
Drake
of Firefly and I said no, thank you.
Well, you need to watch the movie at least.
Why would I watch Serenity without watching the rest of it?
Because you don't need to. I watched Serenity first.
Yeah, but you also like Mr. Robot, so.
Mr. Robot's an amazing show. You need to watch it.
My brother actually told me to watch it this weekend, and he convinced me a little more than you ever have. So,
What did he
and
say?
I
I'm
did
curious.
watch the entire first episode, which felt like 100 years, and I was so bored.
How did he convince you? I'm curious.
He was talking mostly about the like cinematic nature of it versus like all of the cinematography. And like there was some stuff in the third series. I know, but I don't trust you because you love movies with J-Lo in them.
I didn't like that movie. I went to go see it because it was bad.
But
I like seeing bad movies.
As far as the movie itself goes, I mean, they already have one in production with Tom Holland, and by in production, I mean it's been around for years and gone through multiple directors, and it's probably never going to happen. But
yeah, no. So what? Yeah, it's not going to happen. I'd be shocked if it did. So Alan Unger claims he's also been reached out to. He won't say by whom, but he's kind of suggesting it's Sony, and he says that there might be areas that this could progress further. But there's no way that's going to be a movie.
No.
There's just no way. If Sony was like, wow, like was wowed by this, it's like, we need to get this guy on the phone, give him a $150 million budget. We're making Uncharted, ladies and gentlemen. That's not what's going to happen.
God, all the Mexican cartel were just so bad in that.
I will say that what was one thing that kind of bugged me is like, he's just in a random house that's just surrounded by dudes with guns.
Yep.
Like, that's not very Uncharted. They should have tried to find a forest area to be in or something like that. Like, if you go to certain areas, even in America, you can find some rundown places that look like ruins.
I'll run you down.
They
So
could have
all
done
in
better
all,
with the setting.
let us know that you disagree with us on Twitter, and you'll get entered into this month's Participation Award. Participation Trophy! Holden, you didn't obviously play Uncharted this week, but you did play some stuff. What did you play?
Well, I'll start with the one I'll talk least about, and that's Hollow Knight. I've played a little bit more Hollow Knight. I'm like 25 hours into that game now.
Ooh.
And I still don't feel like I'm close to the end. I can't believe how long it is. I'm
She
now
said
stuck.
that.
I'm now stuck at one boss battle in particular called. It's something very similar to a Dark Souls name. They're called the Abyss Knights or something like that. Very, very similar to the Abyss Watchers from Dark Souls 3.
All right. Also very similar to The Abyss, the James Cameron movie from the 90s.
Very shockingly similar to the Abyss. And basically, the boss battle entails possessed knights. They're like kind of dead on the floor. These like big round knights.
Okay.
And then they'll kind of be possessed by this kind of orange gas. And it starts off with just one, and one's really, really hard. And then all of a sudden there's two of them fighting against you. And I've only been able to kill two total. So one on his own, and then one of them in the group of two. But then you realize there's 5 of them in the room in total. So like, I'm nowhere near beating this boss battle. I don't know how to figure it out.
Are you
like,
good at video games even?
I am good at video games, I would
okay.
say.
I was just checking.
First player game, single player games at least I am. But it's really, really hard, so just kind of put it down for a little bit. I'll go back to it in a second. But I stopped mostly because I got Octopath Traveler.
Tell me about that Octopath.
Ooh, is it good? It is so, so, so good. It is different. I'm glad I actually saw reviews ahead of time, because I think that this is an example of I'm not going to say poorly marketed, but not mismarketed, but they didn't convey one aspect of this game that they should have conveyed, strongly at least. They've said it's the story of 8 travelers. I think everyone assumed their tales would combine together at the end of it.
Yeah.
But they are just 8 separate tales. They don't connect.
Apparently that if you do play through all 8 stories, like 8 playthroughs
There's like an
of the
epilogue
games,
dungeon,
yeah.
yeah. But apparently it's just like a boss rush, basically.
Oh, okay.
There's no like ultimate battle that you have to take down, like ultimate enemy that you have to take down. There's nothing like that. And knowing that ahead of time made me enjoy the game more, because I think I was expecting these stories to build up to something a little bit more grand, like the team gets together and then takes down the big baddie. It's not that. It is 8 small stories, and like stories very small, down to like one character wants to be the best apothecary he can. So he's going to travel the world and become the best apothecary. That's
Small
his
in terms
story.
of scale, not in terms of length.
Yeah, the scale of the stories are small. But I get the sense that the stories themselves aren't super long either. I mean, they say the game's about, like,
I've heard 80 to 100 hours.
It's like 50 to 100 hours is what I've heard. And if you think it's about 8 stories in that time frame, that's not super long for a video game story, when most of that is just the actual combat in between story segments. It's not one overarching tale. So if it was one tale, 80 hours, yeah, that's a big story. But they're small stories that feel small as well. Granted, I've only done first chapters. There's 4 chapters per story, and each first chapter is about an hour in length.
Okay.
Like a little bit more than an hour in length, but not terribly long. But that's kind of the weakest part of the game, is the story. Although I am enjoying that it is smaller stakes. I think we don't see a lot of that in really any story medium. But the art style, I think we've gone on about how good the art style is.
Yeah.
But the combat in the battle system is so good. It is so strategic. It's really, really awesome. And that's what has kept me playing this game. Essentially, how it works. I explained a little bit of it last week.
Yeah,
but I didn't
like
do a great...
similar to the brake system from...
Yeah, I didn't explain it... Not exactly. I didn't explain it very well because I didn't quite understand it fully yet. But essentially, it's a turn-based JRPG where, yes, there's a brake system like you just mentioned, but it's a little bit different. So how it works is each enemy has a weakness. When you see an enemy for the first time, they just have like X amount of like question mark squares underneath them to represent what their weaknesses are. Once you hit them with something that is one of their weaknesses, it will reveal itself.
Right.
So there's kind of this challenge of, okay, I'm in the area that Primrose's character is from. She uses knives in particular, so I don't know what that enemy's weakness is, but it might be a knife or it might be wind, because that's also one of Primrose's abilities. So you can kind of guess and kind of use your knowledge of the area to help you with that.
All right.
So it's kind of a nice moment, but you might also come across a situation where there are 2 very similar enemy types, but you don't have the weaknesses for one of them, but you have the weakness for the other. So you can kind of fill in the gaps. Next to the weaknesses is a little shield that has a number inside of it. The number is how many times you need to hit them with something they're weak against before they break. And when they break, their guard is down and you can hurt them more effectively. So you might run into a situation where you have 4 enemies with varying degrees of defense. I've seen like 3 or 4 is like the high end for what I'm seeing right now, but you'll see an enemy with just one shield. Bosses tend to have like 7 or 8, so they're harder to break. So that's on the enemy side. On your side, you gain a boost point every single turn, and you can use them at any point up to 4 at a time, or up to 3 at a time. And what those do is, if you swing your sword normally, you hit once. If you used a boost, you hit an additional time. So if you max it out and use 3 boosts, then you can hit that enemy 4 times. Or if you're using magic, that spell becomes a lot more powerful, which again becomes strategic because you might think, I want to use that spell right now, but if I wait until my boost can get higher, that spell with the same amount of magic power used can be a lot more powerful.
And then suddenly your whole party can, like, everyone save up and then nuke an enemy in one turn. Exactly.
So that's usually what you're doing is trying to get your boost, their breakdown to time with you having a good enough boost to hit them. But let's say in a boss battle, I kept coming across this one boss where he would spawn these 2 enemies that in 3 turns would basically self-destruct and blow up. And, really damage my guys. So I had to figure out how to take care of them first while dealing with the boss. But their break was 3 shields, and I had 3 turns to take them down. So it was like really tight to get the timing down to make sure I didn't die, basically. Like if they hit me, I was done. So it became this really, suddenly fast-paced, urgent matter I had to take care of. Or a boss might suddenly might have like like when bosses in RPGs they won't attack you, but they'll kind of build up power so their next attack is really powerful. One of those moments will happen and you realize, oh, I have to break him before he hits me, because if he hits me, I'm basically done.
Yep.
So then you're using your boosts to do additional attacks to get their shield down faster. Because if you hit them with their sword 3 times and they're weak against the sword, well, that's 3 hits against their shield. So they went from 8 to 5. So you might have to use your boost to also get them down faster, but then you won't damage them as much once you do break their shield.
Man, you're getting real inside baseball right now.
Was that?
You're getting real inside baseball right now.
I'm getting real inside baseball, but there's a lot of strategy behind it, and it's a really incredibly good battle system in a JRPG. I'm really, really impressed by the battle system. It's absolutely the highlight of the game.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. I've also heard that like it's for those people who are not really into JRPGs, it's really accessible. Like it's a complex and deep, but also like simple enough to be accessible.
Yeah, absolutely. System. Like if anyone's listening to this and going, "What the fuck is Holden talking about?" That's a lot he just mentioned. It is not that complicated when you get in and play the game. They lay everything out for you very, very clearly. And I haven't even gone into some of the other strategies to take in consideration, like seeing whose turn is coming up next and who's attacking next. There's a whole strategy involved in that and knowing who to break first based on who's going to attack you first. Like you'll get bonus points for going through a match untouched.
Nice.
There's a lot of really cool strategy. It actually, each little match feels more important than any other battle in a JRPG has been. Do you ever have those moments where you're playing any RPG really with random encounters, and whenever you get a random encounter, you're like, oh, crap, like I just wanted to get to my goal faster, and these encounters keep popping up. Do you ever get annoyed with that ever?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, like that doesn't happen in this game because they space the encounters in a good distance from each other, but I'm also really excited when I get to a battle because I enjoy it way more than the story.
Well, that sounds awesome.
It's really, Holden, really good. I highly recommend it. It's up there for my games of the year so far.
Today, Wario64 on Twitter. Go follow him if you don't, because he is amazing at tweeting out deals and games and all this kind of shit and game leaks. He tweeted out a $10 off. Like if you watch this ad on eBay, you get $10 off anything. And I use it to buy a $50 Nintendo eShop card.
Ooh.
And then I use that to download Octopath Traveler.
Ooh.
So hopefully by next week I'll have played some of it, and I'll be able to gush with you.
I'm really excited for you to play this. It's really awesome. I want to know who you start off with. What do you think of the combat? All that great stuff.
I'm going to start off with the Molester. Is that a class?
There's no molester.
Damn it. Wait, I meant dancer.
Oh, there's a dancer. There's definitely a dancer. And that is a dark storyline, man. That's
what I've heard. Primrose is apparently the best story of all the 8 stories.
Yeah, it's a really good story. Oh, also there's voiceover too, which works really well.
Good.
I thought it worked well. And like every JRPG, the writing can be a little cheesy at times.
Yeah.
But I think that's just kind of JRPG territory stuff.
JRPG? That's JRPG. JRPG.
Chad?
Yeah.
No one wants to hear about Octopath Traveler anymore.
You're right.
They want to hear about the games you've been playing this week.
All right, I'll keep this short because it's a list that we've heard about before, but I just have a couple of new things to add. One, I beat Just Shapes and Beats.
Boom.
A fantastic game. Again, definitely short list for Game of the Year for me. Or maybe not Game of the Year, but like favorite games I've played this year at least. I also played, I didn't know there was multiplayer on this thing, which is pretty cool. I've just been playing the story mode. So I played online a little bit, and you can play with up to 4 people, and it has like 3 levels at a time from the story mode. So you vote on the levels that you go through. If somebody dies, you can like rush over and save them and bring them back to life, and then you all like do a random boss encounter at the end. Pretty fun. And then I was home in North Carolina with my family for the week, and my nephews and nieces are really young. They're around, most of them are like 2 to 4. And my 4-year-old nephew is like, "What are you playing? Can I play it? I want to play it. What's that blue square?" I was like, all right. So I turn on that party mode that I talked about last time, which I thought was just you let the screen go and do whatever. But it's like you guys are actually playing the game together. You just can't die. So that was fun to
that's
be able
nice.
to turn that on for him, and we're avoiding the pink and fighting the boss and things like that. It's a pretty cool game. Again, super cheap, and I definitely recommend.
Yeah, but it's a
buying.
baby game. If there's a baby mode in it, it's a baby game.
It's called party mode, not baby mode.
No,
but
it's
babies
baby
do
mode.
like to party. Have you ever seen a baby on coke? Those guys. And then I played Lumines Remastered some more.
Ooh.
I played about 20 more minutes of the story, not story, whatever you
put
call
in a
the
half hour
challenge
of
mode.
gameplay in like 2 weeks.
And then I played the puzzle part, or no, it's not called puzzle, it's challenges or something like that.
Yeah, it's challenge. Well,
Where
it's
it's like,
puzzle and then it's
Complete
challenges.
this in 2 moves or less, or
Yeah. Oh, the mission mode.
mission. That's what it was.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll come back to it.
Yeah, I've done all of them and the initial set they give you, except for one, which is clear out all squares.
Yeah.
And normally I've done that in modes in like the normal mode, but the configuration they give you, I just can't figure it out, and I just stopped.
Gotcha. Yeah, I did
It's
maybe
hard.
like 8 or 9 of the missions, and after about a half an hour, I was just like, I just don't think I enjoy this game.
I wouldn't put any weight though into the mission and puzzle modes.
Well, I mean,
If you've
even just
only
the regular
played-
mode. That's the regular mode I played for like 20 more minutes, and then the mission
Okay.
mode I did like 8 or 9 of those challenges.
Okay,
Yeah, I don't think I'm into it. I don't think I'll come back to that game.
that's a shame.
No offense to any of you who are, unless your name is Holden, and then lots of offense.
And none taken. It's okay. I get it, Chad. You just
Oh,
hate
you should
me.
definitely take some.
Oh, I should take some?
Yes.
Okay, I'll take some. I'll cry tonight.
And then my parents are huge Donkey Kong fans, and they recently got a Switch. They bought each other a Switch for their anniversary,
Oh, that's nice.
and they play Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze.
Did they get different color Joy-Cons, or did they get matching color Joy-Cons?
They got Pro controllers because
Nice.
their hands are too big and they don't understand video games a lot. So
Okay.
they got Pro controllers. They're using the D-pad and the buttons because joysticks are hard. But while I was
Joysticks are hard.
while I was home, we played for about 4 or 5 hours into the night one night and got through we got all the way through like the 6th world or 7 world. So we're getting close to the end of the game. But it's just a great. We played multiplayer. That's the first time I played multiplayer in this game, and it's different from. I don't know if Donkey Kong Returns had this. I don't think it did, but especially the first 3 on SNES. When you're playing multiplayer, you're actually both playing at the same time. Usually in the other ones, one person's playing, and then they get hit, and then the other person takes over as Diddy Kong or Dixie Kong, whatever. But this one, you're actually both playing at the same time, which is pretty cool. And then you can also they hit R and they jump on your back, and then suddenly you're both one character moving across the screen, which is pretty cool. Anyway, had a lot of fun with it.
Nice.
Enjoyed it.
I need to get that game still, but I keep telling myself I need to get new games that are new.
Get
this
God
year.
of War.
I'm gonna get God of War. I've
Play
decided that
Wolfenstein
is-
1. Play Wolfenstein 2.
I'm gonna get God of War this Friday.
Get God of
I'm
War this
buying it.
Friday.
I'm buying it this Friday. I'm gonna take the plunge.
Dude,
I need to play that game this year.
right after we get off of this, go to
Mm-hmm.
Wario64's Twitter, get that $10 coupon, get a PSN code, and then go get God of War for $10 off.
$10 off?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Use the
Yeah,
$10
I'll do that.
code to buy a PSN card for like 20 or $50, and then use that towards God of War.
I'll do that.
You fucking better. But Holden, you're not going to do that right now. So let's open up our quest log and find out what the internet has provided for us. Our first quest is from... I don't know where it's from, but let's take a look at our fetch quests. Apparently Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is getting more updates. I have to admit, I didn't do any of my reading for this week. So tell me about these updates coming to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe
That's good.
on Switch.
Well, here's the thing: is we don't know anything about the updates. They've
Great.
just said, "Hey,
Awesome.
we're going to do more updates." So I don't know if that means tweaks, new carts, new characters, new tracks. I have no idea, but
All right.
I'm totally down with more Mario Kart.
I wonder if they're
love
going to
that
add
game.
more battle mode and like things that will release with the online service, like give people a reason to
Oh,
go
yeah,
back
that'd be
to
kinda
Mario
cool.
Kart when online launches. Because
Well,
when it
why don't
launches,
be nice. No. Why don't playing with your? So here's the thing about playing online in Mario Kart. You can't play with your friends against other people online. You can only play with your friends and the CPU together. And I hate that. I really hate that.
interesting.
I want to play with my friends against real people.
I bet that's going to be part of the update.
I would imagine.
When it launches in September, they got to have something to play on it and a reason for you to go back to Mario Kart and go back to ARMS and back to Splatoon. Interesting.
Well, Splatoon, they don't need people to go back to. They just need people to stay playing Splatoon.
And they need people to stop cheating. Did you see all the anti-cheating stuff on it?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
The person who hacked the leaderboards to say, please include anti-cheat stuff.
Yeah, so he just it was like the top 4 slots was please stop anti-cheat. Were the 4 top 4 positions because he cheated his way up to the top, and they banned him.
Good. I mean, at least he got the message
taken his advice. Well, he knew his accounts were going to get banned, but Nintendo should have done that. But they also need to stop anti-cheating because I've played Splatoon before and gotten people who are godlike, and I know it's not because they're that good. It's frustrating.
Definitely not.
Anyway, speaking of frustrating. Konami shut down a fan-made PT
Why did you
remake.
say it like that? Why did you say Konami?
Konami. I don't know.
Do you remember Toonami? No, you didn't have cable.
I do remember Toonami. That was on Cartoon Network. That was their mornings, Saturday morning.
Speaking of Cartoon Network, sorry, quick sidebar. You know what I remembered today for the first time in a long time?
Oh, Chad, you're
Do you
killing
remember
me.
Cow and Chicken?
No, but I remember people telling me about it.
Cow and chicken. Cow and chicken. Sorry, continue.
No, I didn't watch kids. I didn't watch Disney Channel, Nickelodeon, or Cartoon Network growing up. But I do know what Toonami is. I was a lame kid. Anyway, so Konami shut down a fan-made PT remake, which you should seriously go and watch a video of this. It looks identical to PT. It's really remarkable that one 17-year-old kid did this. On the positive side of the story, Konami shut it down, but then gave the kid an internship.
Oh.
So they basically said, hey, look, we can't let you do this, but clearly you're extremely talented. Why don't you come work for us? Or
we have terrible work environments and our authority.
We don't make games anymore, but you should come work for us.
Do you like pachinko machines?
Cool. I think they handled that as well as they could have. Obviously they're not going to let that stay up.
Yeah.
Even though that's stupid because it's not like they want to release that game either, but whatever.
Sometimes that's a great way to honestly get noticed by creators.
That's true. I have heard stories
of people
who have...
There's the Mega Man game, like a fan-created Mega Man game, that then eventually Capcom is like, we're going to release this for Mega Man Anniversary Day. Like this fan-created game, we're going to release it as a Mega Man game.
Well, there's all sorts of stories of people making, like Nintendo remakes of games, like remaking Metroid 2 or something like that.
Yeah.
And Nintendo does something really nice, which is they ignore the person and make the game on their own anyway and release it. They have a good tactic of that. Just kidding. A good story, though, this week. I think this is actually the first time we've really seen a big Switch bundle program. So Best Buy is doing this Nintendo Switch bundle where for $330, you can get the Switch, then bundle one of 4 games. And the 4 games are no-brainer options. Splatoon 2, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Mario Odyssey, and Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, I would say half of those are great.
I'd say all of them are great games. But, I mean, even if you don't like some of those games, you can't deny that they are
absolutely, that's
must-have Switch titles. Like the top Switch titles. So that's cool. So basically, you're getting one of those games for half off.
You know what trend I like?
You're probably going to buy it anyway.
So yesterday and today is Amazon Prime Day. And I love that every other retailer is basically having Prime Day as well to compete with them. Mm-hmm. It's like we're getting a new holiday. It's a new Black Friday because Target's having deals, Best Buy is having deals, Walmart, everything's having deals because of Amazon Prime Day.
Yeah, no one buys things off Amazon though.
You're right. Jeff Bezos is just officially the most rich man in history.
It's a Ponzi scheme, the whole thing. It's not real.
Have you ever swum in a pond? Swum? Swum?
Have I ever swam in a pond? I have.
Have you swum? Is that correct?
It's swam.
Swam is the simple past, but what is the past participle? Have swum? Swim, swam, have swum. You talk about the next one. I'll look into it because that's important.
Okay, so Nintendo, while commenting on Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, also made a comment that they're going to share more Switch Online details in September, just before launch. I don't get this company, and sometimes they don't. They have odd timing for announcements. and when they want to release details. So I presume we'll have a Switch Direct, September Direct that will detail the Switch Online like a week before it comes out, is what it sounds like. And our last fetch quest before we get to the big stories of the week is that there's a new PS4 model with model number CUH2200, 2200.
Or as I like to say,
it's
K.
2200. It's only on the Japan store for right now, but it's most likely going to come everywhere else. This is not a new slim model. It is just probably a reworking of some components in the current slim model. This isn't like a brand new unit.
Gotcha.
But it just means they're basically cutting costs and things like that.
Sure.
And I don't mean that in a bad way. They just might have gotten parts manufactured easily if they do it differently, and they just kind of change some components. So small
speaking
stuff.
of, like, just a quick small thing that I saw. Remember the Nintendo Switch hack that we talked about a few weeks ago, where like on the graphics chip level, people are able to hack it and there's no fix for it?
Nintendo's infallible, so that's probably not true.
Oh, you're right. Well, you added the story. Anyway, I saw this week that they've been like quietly rolling out, or from their factories, manufacturing new models.
Switch models.
Yeah, Switch models with that patch in it. So new hardware might be coming with that. For the record,
our Switches are now very valuable because they don't have that.
That's right. We have the OG. Swum is used in the present perfect and the past perfect tenses and must be preceded by has, have, or had. So yes, I have swum. He has swum.
I've never
swam.
heard of
He swam.
swum before. Swum sounds like someone who said that instead of swam.
Well,
but
if
I guess
you just say I swam versus I have swum.
I have swam? I guess I have swam doesn't quite sound right either. I have swam.
I have swag. Oh, speaking of OG Switch units, 1 in 5 Switch owners have a cracked unit on our game potatoes.
Yeah, so the statistic, 1 in 5 Switch owners have a cracked unit, not a great sounding statistic. The reason it's a game potato is where that statistic comes from.
Yeah, what is that? Where does that come from? Tell me.
So it comes from the website Nintendo Life, and they asked their own users, their own readers, in a poll whether or not theirs has cracked without accidental damage, like dropping or anything like that. And 1 in 5 out of the 1,100 plus people that responded said that theirs has cracked without accidental damage. Here's the thing
scientifically accurate.
Scientifically accurate.
Great sample size.
It's nothing wrong with Nintendo Life. Nothing against them. It's other people are putting out this is like 1 in 5 Switch owners. Those people who are reading Nintendo Life are probably more dedicated to Nintendo than any other company. Their Switch is probably their primary unit that they play games on, which means it gets more usage. We also have no way of knowing if there was no dropping whatsoever.
Yeah.
We have no way of knowing that. Someone's brother could have dropped it for them. They might not be honest. Who knows?
I just woke up and the screen on my Switch was shattered.
Yeah, I mean, Chad and I both worked in customer service. We have heard many stories of, oh, my phone just dropped on the carpet. I'm sure it did. That's why it's bent into a J shape. So, I don't know. I just have a hard time believing that statistic from where the source is.
Yeah.
Also, that just seems like a very high number for something that I haven't seen anyone have experiences with, but we've seen a lot of people who have, like, in our own lives, who've had bent switches.
Yeah.
A lot of people that we know have had that. I don't know anyone who's had a cracked Switch. No one.
I actually haven't looked at mine. I saw the story, but I haven't looked at my Switch to see if it's cracked or not.
Yeah, because you probably keep it in the dock and never take it out.
No, it's always in the case.
Oh, it's always in the case?
I don't play in
You also
docks,
just don't touch it. You don't touch it. You don't like Nintendo.
I bring it with me everywhere. I just rarely play it.
Do you really bring it with you everywhere?
It's always in my backpack because I always go to work saying, I'm going to play my Switch on my lunch break, and then I fall asleep instead.
Well, that's all for the game potatoes. Chad, let's jump into our main stories for the day.
All right. I'm going to skip to one that I know a lot about.
Yeah.
The last one on the list. Microsoft will not delay Crackdown 3 further, apparently.
Yes.
So, with a few, I believe this was from Eurogamer, where they had a few interviews with Phil Spencer and things like that. Phil Spencer's a person, Holden. God damn you. So, Microsoft obviously had originally planned for this game to come out in 2016. Then it got delayed to November 2017.
Did it not? Did it just slip our minds?
Oh, no, this came out with Crew 2, Crew Harder 4 years ago. No, it did not come out in 2016. It got delayed to 2017, November of 2017. Then got, because they intended to launch that with the Scorpio, Xbox One X. And then it got delayed to 2018. And then, of course, at E3, we heard about the delay to February 22nd, 2019, which is the new day that everything in the world is coming out.
I have a note on that we'll get back to in a second.
All right. They said that they are unwilling to move it any further. They originally moved it from that date because, one, they want more time to work on it and polish it, but also to avoid Red Dead, Call of Duty, and Assassin's Creed this fall. But then it turns out
smart.
that... Well, it's smart, but then it turns out so did everyone else, like The Division and Metro and...
Days Gone.
Days Gone. Anthem. Yeah, everything else is also coming out in that time frame now. But they pretty much said enough is enough. Like, we've got to fucking release this game.
Yeah, it's a good point. Like, we wanted to avoid these games that were around our release date, and now we're going to put it on a day where everything is releasing on that same day. It does seem like a weird trade-off, but it's more than just that. There's also issues with the kind of cloud technology they were talking about. So having this multiplayer mode where the environments were 100% destructible, and that was in thanks to cloud power that would have given them 20 times the power of the Xbox One through the power of the cloud, and they had a hard time getting that technology to work. There were also some confusions over the responsibilities of certain developers. There have been a few developers working on this.
Yeah.
One is Sumo Digital. They also developed Snake Pass and Team Sonic Racing, which are very different games than Crackdown 3. Like, shockingly different. Snake Pass I played, and that's a really small game. I mean, that could have been made by a few people when you see the kind of stuff that indies release nowadays.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I also think I remember reading somewhere like 6 months ago that the original developer who started Crackdown 3 is no longer working on the project. Is that true?
Yeah, so in the article, so someone, what was the guy's name? It's in Instapaper. I'll find his name, but he left in September 2017, so last year he left. Weird, I highlighted this article, but it's not highlighted anymore.
You dumb
Where
bitch.
was it? I'm a dumb bitch.
You dumb bitch! You're gonna move the
guy's
bunk?
name is Jones, but where's his first name?
James Earl?
Dave Jones. He's a creative director at a company called Reagent Games. He came on in 2015. They announced it at Gamescom, and then he left in September 2017. So he wasn't there that long. Is that what you're referring to?
I think that might have been it. You keep talking. I'm looking at the Wikipedia part.
Yeah, you're fine. So Sumo Digitals is one of the one of the companies that worked on the game. The other company are the ones called Ruffian and Red Kite Games, so there's a lot of developers working in this game. It's a big project. They've also, with all that, haven't had very consistent leadership throughout, and as a result of that, the project has lacked focus. So it's kind of been off the rails, it sounds like, and they've been trying to reel it in. I really think it sounds like, and this is something that I didn't put in the notes, but in the interview I was reading that, like, Phil Spencer's a really big fan of Crackdown 3. He's the Crackdown franchise. He's the one who decided to greenlight the third one, and I think he's really trying to make this work, and I just don't think it's working, from what it sounds like at least. And I think moving it away from Red Dead Redemption is kind of a way of them saying, hey, look, it's not going to be bad, but when you have a good, not great game going up against Red Dead Redemption 2, it's going to look like a weak game.
Yeah.
And I think that was a big part of it. I don't know if the other games coming out, Days Gone, Metro Exodus, and Anthem, maybe Anthem can, but I don't think those games could really make Crackdown 3 look really bad if it's just good. Whereas I think Red Dead could make a game like this look bad. But what I did is I actually looked at the sales numbers for Crackdown and all the other games coming out. Well, I'll explain. So Crackdown 1 sold 1.5 million units worldwide. Crackdown 2 only sold 1.12 million units. So it's never really been a huge franchise, definitely a good one. for sure, but nothing massive. So the other companies going up there, like Metro, I didn't get a lot of numbers on the first 2 releases, but the Metro redo that came out sold just under a million copies. So that's not really a huge threat to Crackdown. They're kind of in the same ballpark. Sony Bend, they're the ones who are making Days Gone. Their last 4 games were Uncharted Golden Abyss, Resistance Retribution, which is an awesome game, by the way. Easily the better of the 2 Resistance mobile portable games.
Portable, yeah.
The other 2 games they released were Siphon Filter Logan's Shadow and Siphon Filter Dark Mirror. Those are their past 4 games. And, I mean, Uncharted sold the best with 1.62 million. Resistance was 900,000. And then the Siphon Filter games were like 500 and 600,000 respectively. So, like, not huge contenders there. Sony Bend doesn't have a big following, and I don't think many people care about Days Gone. So I don't think they have too much to worry about there. So Metro, not a huge concern because it's not a huge franchise.
Yeah.
Same with Sony Bend. And then BioWare, they're releasing a new franchise, but their games do sell incredibly well. Their past 4 games are all Mass Effect games. Andromeda was the worst selling of the 4 at 2.33 million, which is just a little bit under both the Crackdown games total combined. And then Mass Effect 3 was their highest selling Mass Effect game. That was 5.45 million. So I think Anthem is the real game for them to worry about.
Yeah.
I mean, the other 2 games aren't either a new franchise or are a franchise that not many people know about. So I think Crackdown actually does have a good name to live up to on February 22nd. I think it might actually do well as long as the game's not bad.
Well, we'll see
if
how
it's
that goes.
good, I think it might be okay, actually.
I want for my birthday for it to do well.
Do you really?
I do.
Why? Why do you care?
I want Microsoft to actually be good. I want it to succeed. And I'm happy with the direction it's going, so I want them to have some successes.
That is fair. I talked a lot there.
Do I care about it?
Details.
No.
Oh, I don't care about the game at all, but I can appreciate
But I want
your
them
sentiment.
to. I want them to be successful.
I want Microsoft to be successful as well, but I don't think it's going to happen until Xbox 2 at this point. Successful, I don't mean that in terms of making money. I just mean in terms of reclaiming their the brand recognition they once had in games.
Yeah.
Even I think that's a harsh way of putting it. They're not in a bad place. They're just not in a great place.
But a
all
quiet
right, moving
place. Great
on.
movie. Moving on. I want to talk about one more since you just talked a lot. I'll give you your mouth a break. That's
Thank
what
you.
she said. Epic Games, who created and licenses out Unreal Engine that so many games are made from, did something pretty awesome this week. If you make a game in Unreal Engine, and maybe you are a programmer or you're a designer, but you're not an artist, there is a marketplace, the Unreal Marketplace, where you can go and say, hey, I need a tree for my game, but I don't want to make a tree. There are people like, cool, I made a tree in Unreal Engine. You can buy mine. You can pay a few bucks or whatever it is to use that tree in your game. Or you can be a person model, or it can be a car, or it can be a building. So people go out there, and people sometimes make a living or supplement their income by just making things for other people to use in their games. And traditionally, in a lot of these marketplaces, from that, it's also very common in like digital storefronts, like iOS App Store and PSN and things like that. The creator will get 70% of the revenue from it, and then the host company, so Epic's Unreal site, will get 30% of it. Well, this week, Epic said, listen, we made Fortnite, and it is a crazy success. We are making hand-over-fist money from it, that we no longer need as much money from the Unreal Marketplace, because we're able to support ourselves and our projects moving forward using Fortnite money. So because of that, we're going to give creators now 88% instead of 70%, which is huge.
That's a big change.
Not only did they do that, but they also went retroactive in any sale that has been made since the Unreal Marketplace opened up in 2014. They are retroactively paying out that extra 18% as well, which is
that's
crazy.
That's the real amazing thing to me. They did not have to do that, and nobody would have blamed them.
Nope. So I think that's really awesome. One, that they're using their money and their success for good to pay these developers and these creators back. but two,
Absolutely.
that they're shaking up the traditional model and the traditional payment scheme. Like, people now are going to be like, oh, I could go develop in Unity, or I could make my own thing, or now I have the choice of Unreal, and I know that the creator that I'm going to buy stuff from gets a lot more of that profit. Maybe I'll go and support that platform instead.
Well, it's so
and
smart.
It's going to drive competition.
No, it's exactly smart for that reason. If they can get more developers to come to Unreal Engine, they'll make up the difference if they can get enough people to come over.
Yep.
And in treating people well, that usually gets people to come to you. Usually.
Yep.
So it's good. I'm very, very happy with Epic for doing that. I think it's one of the... Honestly, I'd say it's one of the nicest stories of the year so far.
Way to go, Epic.
Way to go.
Speaking of Epic, side note, I downloaded Fortnite to my Switch. Still haven't played it. I did promise the kids at work, though, that I would play it by tomorrow when I see them, so I've got to play it tonight, I guess.
I played one match and then deleted it. So
Did you really?
Yeah.
Alex Seiler wants me to text him and play with him so he can teach me what little he knows about the game.
Okay. Speaking of Epic, we have a new Spider-Man game coming out. We have some new information about it.
And it's going to be epic!
It's going to be epic. I think this is... I'm curious in a positive way what Insomniac does here, because I think the story is going to get some bad press. I don't think it deserves the bad press. The story is there's going to be no day-night cycle in Spider-Man. So the creative director, Brian Intar, he responded to a fan question on Twitter, and he just said there's going to be no full day-night cycle.
I'm actually okay with that.
I'm okay with that, too. I don't have an issue with that. He didn't really expound upon what he means by that, but I'm sure what it means is they want to have control over the day-night cycle for thematic and cinematic effect.
Exactly, and it's so much easier. First of all, you already have difficulties in telling story in open-world games.
Yeah.
But when you do have control over, well, this part of the story is going to happen at night, or this part of the story is going to happen during the day, and you're not leaving it up to chance whatever time the player happens to stumble upon that mission, then it just makes your story that much easier to tell. And I mean, we've seen a lot of open world games successfully do this. I mean, Infamous is one that comes to mind. Infamous and Infamous 2. Like, there are specific parts of those games that take place during... I don't remember whether Second Son did it. But Last Light or First Light. Infamous First Light. You play the whole thing at night because it's all based around neon powers. So
it just
really cool to see those at night. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's anything to really... I'm actually kind of excited about it because it opens up more creative opportunities for them to deliver a really great story with Spider-Man.
Yeah, I mean, if this is them just saying, hey, we're going to have it be daytime all day long, okay, that's not great. But I don't think that's what Insomniac's doing here. They're a really good developer. I don't think that's their plan at all.
And I mean, we already saw the Sinister Six, like, the prison breakout thing at E3.
Yeah, it takes place at night.
That takes place at night, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think it's actually a smart move because if you think about superhero in particular, the superhero story, things play out differently at night than they do during the day. Nighttime is the night where the criminals come out and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and you need flashlights.
Flashlights. No, because they might want to control that more as opposed to just having a system set up where every 12 minutes when it becomes nighttime, more bad guys are outside, but only for 12 minutes. Like that might be kind of weird. So I can see why they would do that. 2 stories left here.
You know what I appreciate about you?
What?
Even though you aren't a huge fan of JRPGs, anytime that you're like stalling and making noises to fill the silence, you always do the Final Fantasy theme song.
I love that theme song. That actually wasn't what I was intentionally or thinking what I was doing there. Did it sound like that?
Yes, that's exactly what it is. And I've noticed it several times.
Oh.
When I get uncomfortable in like a silence, or if I'm like in an elevator with a person and like maybe I farted, I'll start humming Jolly Old St. Nicholas. I don't know why, but that's the I'm uncomfortable song. So if you're ever around me in real life and you hear me humming Jolly Old St. Nicholas, it means something around me makes me uncomfortable.
Well, I haven't heard you sing that before, so that's probably a good sign.
All right.
Yeah. But no, the reason I sing that theme song is I loved Final Fantasy III on the DS.
On the dick sucking.
That was a great game. Very good game. Speaking of good games, Dead Space 4, we heard some information about what that game could have been. Not us personally. God damn,
I want a reboot of that series.
I do too, and this concept sounds so cool. So Ben Wanat I don't know how to pronounce it. Is it Wanat? I don't know. He's the creative director of Dead Space. Talk to Eurogamer. Eurogamer is killing it lately.
Yeah, Eurogamer's getting all them scoops of ice cream.
He talked about what Dead Space 4 could have been, and he basically said there's going to be open areas to explore, where the setting of the game is going to be on a few ships that are kind of clustered together, and be going between the different ships, which kind of sounds like a cool idea for a Dead Space game, where you have these open environments you can just explore. I want that so bad. That sounds great.
Yep.
The story would have involved a necromorph apocalypse. So things have escalated with the necromorphs. I don't know what happens in Dead Space 2 or 3. I only played the first one. Even though I loved that game, I don't know why I didn't go and play the other ones. So I don't know where the story goes after that. And it also would have had a female protagonist, which is Ellie Langford. Is she in the other two games?
I don't remember. She might have been.
Did you play all three?
I played Dead Space 1 and 2.
Okay.
I didn't play Extraction, but I think that one starred a female person.
Possibly, maybe.
That was the Wii exclusive one for a while, and then it came to PlayStation with the Move controllers. And
very cool. Why hasn't this game happened? I feel like the Dead Space game would sell very well.
That's what I thought too, but
yeah,
apparently the rest of the fucking world doesn't. Man, I even platinum Dead Space 1, and that's where you have to like go through on hard mode, only using the plasma cutter. And you only get like a certain number of saves. That game was good.
It was good. Speaking of not games, Germany is banning undated or temporarily dated pre-orders.
I'm not against this.
I'm not against it either. I think this is a good idea. Basically, a consumer protection group, which is the name of it is Dusseldorf Consumer. They're a German company. They're a German, I mean. They brought up the issue of consumers having the right to having a release date before they put money down on a pre-order for a game. And the Higher Regional Court of Munich decided that was a good thing, is they put a ban on pre-orders with vague release dates. So in other words, if they said Last of Us Part 2 is coming out in 2019, pre-order now, that's not okay in Germany.
Or if like GameStop just lists like a end of quarter release date, like September 31st, 2018, when all they said was quarter 3.
Yeah. I think this is a great idea, but it being Germany only means that it won't actually change anything anywhere else.
Yeah.
It'll change things in Germany. But I think this is smart. And it's good for developers, I think, too. Because I feel like one of the great things about like Bethesda, besides this most recent E3, is when they say, hey, Fallout 4 is coming out this fall. And they don't say this whole like, hey, we're going to release like Square Enix. We're going to release Final Fantasy VII Remake at some point. Pre-order now.
But they did say Elder Scrolls 6 coming sometime in the next 20 years.
Yeah, I that's why I said besides this most recent E3. And I just don't think... All right, so I'm not explaining myself very well. Think of it this way. People have a problem with this Atari console because they're putting money down on a console
exactly what
that
I
seems
thought
like
of.
It might not exist. Or it seems fake. Like, give us money now before this comes out. Like, they need more money to pay for the console. In this case, pay for the game.
They need more money to pay someone to decide what it's going to be.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas I feel like once a game has a firm release date, it's pretty close to being ready. Like, you can't change it at this point.
Yep.
In any drastic way. So, boom. Good for Germany.
Saboom.
Good for Germany. Well, are you ready to move on to the main quest?
I think we are. Man, it's been 53 minutes, but this has flown by. We're good conversationalists.
Good conversationalists.
I enjoy our talks, Holden.
I enjoy weather. Do you like weather as well?
Yeah, sunny.
So we're going to do our mid-year review. We are now more than halfway through the year.
Oh my God.
And we're going to just go through...
Shoot me in the face.
We're going to go through January to June and just talk about some of the big games of each of those months. And then what are kind of our biggest disappointments of the year and what are our games of the year so far. Now, because this is January to June, like I can't talk about Octopath Traveler, even though that is in my top of the year so far. This is just January to June.
All right.
So if anything's not mentioned that's come out very recently, that's probably why.
All right. Let's start off with
January,
Jan. Yeah, so a couple of key games that came out in January. I know top of a lot of people's, well, not necessarily top, but very high on a lot of people's Game of the Year watch list so far is Celeste.
Ooh, yeah.
We spoke very favorably of it.
Yep.
Definitely, I think, number 2 on my game of the year so far. Mm-hmm. And it's available on everything, right? Definitely at home on Switch.
I think so. Yeah, I have it on Switch. I guess it's on PS4 and Xbox and PC, but
I think it is.
You should buy it on Switch if you have a Switch. It's a good game for Switch.
Monster Hunter World also seemed to have revitalized Capcom.
Yeah.
In January, lots of people were all over that thing. That's one that I'm still I kind of upset that I missed the bandwagon on that.
Monster Hunter?
Yeah.
I thought that, and then I remembered I tried playing the games before many times, and I've not liked them each time I played them. So
yeah. And then the Inpatient totally bombed.
Yeah, you were excited for the Inpatient.
I was. I didn't actually end up ever buying it because of all the reviews. But the Inpatient was the set 40 years before the events of Until Dawn or something like that. The PlayStation VR title. And did not do well.
No, badly reviewed. I don't think it sold very well either.
Yeah.
It's not good. Other big game that came out in January was Dissidia Final Fantasy NT, which I haven't heard about it too much since, but that was a pretty big release at the time.
Yeah, it was a big release. I remember not liking it. I thought there was way too much going on. It was so hard to understand.
Did you play it?
Yeah, because they had that free... I don't remember whether it was a free weekend or a demo or...
It was a beta. They had a beta.
Yeah, that's what it was.
I didn't play it. But I did play some games that came out the following month.
Yeah, we did. Do you remember Shadow... Have you ever beat Shadow Colossus yet?
I haven't beaten it yet.
Oh, you dumb bitch!
I know, I'm a dumb bitch. It's a beautiful game. I haven't beaten it.
Shadow of the Colossus, amazing. God, I forgot that came out. It's so good. I need to go back to that and finish platinuming it.
Oh, so you didn't finish it, Chad?
Oh, no, I finished it. I got to platinum it. I got through half of the time trials, a little bit of hard mode.
Chad. You disgust me.
Bayonetta 1 and 2 came to Switch. I beat 1, still got to start 2. 3 along the way.
Haven't played 1 or 2 yet. Heard it's good. You told me it was good. Tell me about Moss, Chad. You played Moss in February.
Yeah. If Inpatient was a bad PSVR game everyone was looking forward to, Moss was a fantastic PSVR game. And it's that little one with the mouse. I forget the name of the mouse. But she's traveling around. And
is it Moss?
Quill. It's Quill.
Is it Moss?
No, it's Quill.
Is it?
It's Quill.
Moss?
But it's such a great little puzzle game, platformer with a little bit of action in there, where you're controlling you as the spirit as well as the mouse walking around the puzzles. It's good.
But Chad, maybe Quill's last name is Moss. Quill Moss.
Holden.
Metal Gear Survive also came out in February. That was and
can now be picked up for $2.50 in a bargain bin at Best Buy, I'm sure.
Kingdom Come Deliverance is going to come out in February. Did you hear anything about this game, Chad?
I've heard the title a lot, and I thought, oh, that's that DC comic. Oh, wait, no, it's not. It's a video game. And then I was like, is this the medieval game that's not fantasy medieval? It's just actual, you're a knight.
It's medieval Bohemia.
That means nothing to me.
Okay, well, that's a place. And it takes place there in medieval times. It's an independent game.
Medieval times, like the cable guy?
Yes. And apparently it was a good game for being an indie game. It is actually known for being very historically accurate, which has also gotten it in trouble. Being medieval Bohemia,
there's lots of boobies and wieners hanging out?
No, there's not a lot of minorities. There's a lot of white people who are in that game. So the game was criticized for not being diverse enough, even though that time period and that place,
people of color didn't exist until the 1700s.
Jesus Christ.
That's true,
not what
right?
I'm saying. No, it just that specific area was primarily white during the medieval times.
Gotcha.
That's what it is. Black people existed. They were definitely a thing.
There are more people in the world than just whites and blacks, Holden. That's why you got to say people
that is
of color.
True. That is true. But in America, it's everything's white and black.
Oh my God, you racist!
I'm such a racist. I'm a bigot. Well, what's not bigoted? The month of March, diverse, so many games.
You are an idiot. That was a terrible segue.
I had to switch us off of a racist conversation.
But you're right. There's a lot of diverse games.
Yeah, a lot of diverse types of games that came out. From the classics, such as A Sea of Thieves.
Sea of Thieves. Swing and a miss, Microsoft.
One of many. They're looking for A Way Out, which is also a game that came out in March. Boom. How is that?
A pretty okay, fun, mediocre game.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Pretty cool concept. Fun because I got to play it with you. Not fun if I had to play it by myself.
Yeah. Ni no Kuni 2. I wish that actually got more attention. It kind of came and went.
Kind of did kind of come and went. I didn't think it was nothing. No one said it was a bad game. No one liked it as much as the first one.
Mostly because it got overshadowed by Far Cry 5, which was on everyone's watch list for that month.
Also on everyone's watch list for that month was Detective Pikachu.
Oh my god, that game was so baby.
I remember you played the demo of it, and you're like, I still got to play the demo because I know I never want to play that game ever again.
It is a baby game for babies.
Speaking of baby game for babies, Kirby Star Allies also came out in March.
Yeah, again, another baby platformer.
Yep, here's how I know this is a baby platformer. I got 2 hours into that game and thought, I'm really not liking it. I got bored.
Wait, you were so excited for that game.
I was excited. I liked the demo. I'm like, the demo is fun. I get it simple, but it's the early levels. It'll get more complex. And I'm like, oh my god, it hasn't gotten any more complex. It is just baby game. It is a baby platformer. And this was affirmed for me when I went to Texas to see my brothers, who are 12 and 5 or 6 now, and the 6-year-old loved Kirby Star Allies. He thought it was a blast. He already put more time into it than I did because it's a baby game for babies.
Final Fantasy 15 Royal Edition came to PC, and then of course the expansion came to everything else. Kind of totally changed the game.
Yeah, wait, it changed the game?
Yeah, added entire new worlds and game mechanics and.
Oh, okay. I guess that changes the game.
Yeah, duh. Devil May Cry HD Collection got re-released on consoles.
Coincidentally, right before they announced the new game.
Devil May Cry 5. Well, I don't know if you can call that right before. It's 3 months earlier.
Well, in the grand scheme of things.
And then everyone was clamoring for Burnout Paradise Remaster, and boom, it happened, and then no one talked about it.
Oh my god, that's right. That did come out. And I wrote that down, too, and I already forgot about it.
But here is the month of months.
With the least amount of games, but one of the biggest games of the year.
April.
And that game was Nintendo Labo.
Nintendo Labo sets the world on fire. Why? Because it's all cardboard and easily flammable.
Chad, tell me about your favorite game of the year.
God of War, everybody. Got that platinum trophy, that sweet, sweet platinum trophy. This game is my favorite game of all time, so obviously, yes, it is my game of the year so far. It did beat out The Last of Us for my favorite game of all time.
Blasphemy.
Fantastic storytelling, incredible combat, really amazing world and gameplay. I can't fucking wait for more God of War. And I've decided that, yes, when New Game Plus comes out, which they announced at E3, I'm totally going to play it again.
Oh, Chad.
And then a game that I also think everyone should play, Hellblade. Finally came to Xbox, and then we found out later that Ninja Theory, the developers of Hellblade, is actually a part of Microsoft now.
Yeah. Good for them.
Good for them.
Good for them. And then also, Chad's excited about South Park Fractured But Whole is on Switch as well. Came out in April.
Oh, by the way, there was today there was a Ubisoft earnings call. Mm-hmm. And on it, they detailed future releases, and apparently sometime before September, South Park Stick of Truth is finally being put on Switch as well, the original game.
But are they going to give it to people for free who already bought Fractured Butthole?
I don't think so.
Stick of Truth came with Fractured Butthole?
If you pre-ordered Fractured Butthole, you got Stick of Truth immediately to play. It didn't come separately until long after Butthole came out, but it was then a purchase item.
Okay, gotcha. May saw the release of what everyone was waiting for, really, and that is Stardew Valley to come to Vita.
Yeah, long live the Vita.
When I saw that, there was a Vita game that came out this year.
Yeah.
And a big one, too. Actually, Stardew Valley is a pretty big game. So that's not the biggest game that came out in May.
No, the biggest game that came out in May was Resident Evil 7 Biohazard Cloud version for Switch. A cloud-based game on Switch. That's interesting experiment. We know how we feel about that. Go back and listen to the episode and hear us almost kill each other.
Talk about it. Ugh,
no, it was not 2. Disgusting. It was 2 months ago episodes.
Was it 2 months ago?
Yeah, it
We
was way
talked about
before
it too.
E3.
No, we did talk about it 2 episodes ago.
I
though.
hate you.
Because we talked about it in regards to apparently more cloud games coming to Switch. So we did talk about 2 episodes ago.
More
Boom,
cloud
Chad.
games.
Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze came out in May, but we already talked about that because Chad's playing baby games again. Chad, what else did you play that came out in May? Because you played a lot in May.
Detroit Become Human.
Boom. It's
And in my
shitty,
head...
right?
Did I
It's
finish
shit.
this game?
Is it shit? It's shit, right?
I can't remember if I beat this or not. Because I was on
can't
vacation
remember
for a
if you
week.
beat the game. It must have not had a great ending.
I
Or
remember
it's
us
not that
being...
memorable.
Maybe... Oh, no, we're on, like, the last chapter. Because I was like, man, we're on a chapter where everything kind of comes together. Okay. Damn it. I can't believe I was real enthralled on that, and then I went on vacation for a week and wasn't able to play it with my roommates. So now I've got to... Fuck. I've got to go back and...
Oh, Chad, you're letting me down.
Dark Souls Remastered except for Switch, which is really the only one anyone cared about.
Womp.
And State of
Yeah,
Decay
I'm
2.
what about that.
State of Decay 2 came out? Oh, that's right, it did.
It did come out, yeah.
Again, no one cared.
June. Let's go to June. This is our last month in the first half of the year. And this includes such great games as Crew 2,
Crew
which
Harder.
is also known as A Need for Crew, is what I'm calling it this week.
Fast Crew.
No, it's a need for crew, like a need for speed. It's a need for crew.
The Crew of the Furious.
Did you get it?
Yeah.
I already wrote the Crew of the Furious. That was last week.
Did you?
Yeah.
The Fate of the Crew.
The Fate of the Crew. So Crew 2 came out. Lumines Remastered came out in June. Mario Tennis Aces obviously came out in June. Unravel 2 is a surprise release.
That guy at the conference. Oh my god! It drops today. Oh my god!
I remember that. Sushi Striker: The Way of Sushido. Really weird game. I played the demo of this, and oh my god, it's so Japanese. It's like very Japanese anime in its cutscene style. And I'm not very much into anime. Nothing against it.
Well, look at you, turning racist left and right.
Such a racist. And then this game called Vampire came out. Did you hear about Vampire at all, Chad?
Yeah, apparently it's like an okay game.
No, I heard it was pretty good. More than okay. It's a vampire RPG. I've heard good things about it. And it got totally overshadowed because it came out like the week of or the week before E3.
Apparently there are a lot of technical glitches with it.
Oh, I just heard good things about it. But I have a list here of, in June in particular, the Switch port-orama, because there are so many Switch ports that came out in June.
And good ones.
Good ones, too, yeah. So we'll start with some of the weaker ones, like De Blob Remastered.
Oh, you remember that De Blob from the Wii?
Yep, it's coming to Switch. It's remastered. Wolfenstein 2, The New Colossus came to Switch.
Oh, fuck
Crash
yeah.
Bandicoot Insane Trilogy came to Switch. Limbo and Inside came to Switch. As we mentioned, Fortnite Battle Royale came to Switch. And Hollow Knight came to Switch.
That's a good month for Switch.
Ports coming to Switch, yeah. But really good ports. Inside, if you haven't played Inside, oh my god, play that game. It is incredible. It's so
great.
good.
Wolfenstein 2, though, everyone should play it. Especially you.
Yeah, sure, whatever. Okay. Moving on. No, I will play that game. I have so many games I have to play. So we're going to do our games of the year. Of the year so far. Before we do that, though, I want to just talk about some of our biggest disappointments of the year. Like things we haven't seen so far this year that we really thought we were going to see, or just things that happened we didn't like. Chad, do you have anything you can think of off the top of your head?
Yeah, Sea of Thieves, I think, is one of my biggest disappointments. Mm-hmm. Like, as we were, the weeks leading up to Sea of Thieves, I was really starting to turn around on that game. All of the marketing for it, the attention to detail, the achievements, like how they were like riddles themselves to figure out what you had to do was cool. So I really thought that they were going to put a lot of love and attention into it and that it was going to take off, and then it wasn't what it needed to be, and no one gave a shit anymore. So that was definitely maybe my biggest disappointment of the year.
Plus, you needed to justify your Xbox purchase.
Yep.
You have like nothing to play in your Xbox.
Yeah, I haven't turned it on in a long time.
Do you regret getting your Xbox at all?
No, because I use it... Well, okay, I do turn it on and use it as my 4K Blu-ray player.
Oh, okay. So you do use it, okay.
Yeah.
Strange that PS4 doesn't have a 4K
I know, that's
Blu-ray
so
player.
fucking stupid.
And that's in the Pro as well, right?
Yep.
That's the stranger one to me. Slim, okay, they're saving money. PS4 Pro, that's the one you're supposed to be pushing the boundaries of technology with. But
well,
I guess
everything's going to streaming.
Yeah, people like physical. I'm a digital streaming only kind of person, but people like their physical collections still. So one of my biggest disappointments of the year is just not seeing Animal Crossing. I was so convinced after Pocket Camp came out at the end of last year that I'm like, oh, in January they'll show it off as coming out in like the summer or something like that. We haven't heard anything. Like, why did they bother releasing Animal Crossing Pocket Camp at that point when it could have served as like a good marketing piece for the main game? And I feel like they're so spread out from each other now. So I was very let down by that. Same thing goes with Metroid Prime 4. Just seeing nothing of that game this year has really bummed me out.
Yeah.
And I think in a lot of ways, E3 was kind of, not necessarily a disappointment, but way different than I expected.
Yeah, so there was so much that was put out in the weeks ahead of E3 that it's like, it
made it kind of relevant.
Yeah, a little bit.
But not even that, like, I didn't like Nintendo's conference that much. So much focus on Smash. The more I think about Sony's conference, the more I don't like it. Microsoft is the only one who really had a good conference. Everyone else's was meh at best. And there was a lot of good games shown off, but a lot of those games we kind of already knew about. So just, I don't know, I was kind of let down by E3 this year as well.
Well, hopefully next year we'll be able to experience it for ourselves and actually play these games.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Ooh, again, give us a reason to do that with participation trophy.
So, Chad, we're at the end of this little segment here. Before we close it out, I want to know what your games of the year so far have been.
Obviously, God of War, number 1. World's greatest. You, my boy, Blue. Number 2.
Not surprised.
I would say if I had like a list of 3, it would be this, followed by Celeste and Shadow of the Colossus.
Okay. Does Shadow of the Colossus count as a game? I guess it's a remake.
If it doesn't count, then Just Shapes and Beats.
The Just Shapes and Beats?
Yeah.
I think this is a conversation we should have, because one of the things that I've realized in my games list is, and you have a good list, so many games that came out this year were remakes or remasters or a port of some kind that most of the games I've played have kind of already come out this year, or before this year. So I really only have a handful of games I've played that are new to this year. And most of those I didn't think were great to make it in that listing or not. So I only have 2 games. And that is Celeste. But if we're counting ports and remakes, remasters, that kind of stuff, then Hollow Knight's number 2 for me. But I don't know. I've been going back and forth. Hollow Knight might be 1. I really don't know. I need to beat it still. But Hollow Knight is a really incredible gaming experience.
I feel like, I think you had mentioned this before. Like, if it's first to console this year, obviously because no one but not Fez gives a shit about PC gaming.
That's not a slight against you, Fez.
It's absolutely only a slight against Fez and not anyone else.
I didn't say that. You said that.
Just kidding. No, obviously, yeah, all of these games start out on PC anyway. But I feel like first to console and that market and that audience, why not?
So I have this question to you then. Not to discredit anything, just to purely ask you the question. What makes Shadow of the Colossus different then? It's been on PS2 before. It's been on PS3 before.
Yeah.
So what makes this different? I'm not arguing you, but I just want to know.
I think if it's a remake, like if it is like built from the ground up, like Shadow of the Colossus, Crash Bandicoot, the Spyro trilogy, Resident Evil 2, like if these games have been completely remade, that's one thing that might make them worth consideration, especially since literally every piece of code in Shadow of the Colossus was completely fresh.
Yeah.
Versus something like the Devil May Cry HD collection, where it's the same game, just up-resed.
Yeah.
Like, that, I don't... Like, no, that doesn't count.
Yeah, because I didn't include Mario Kart 8 Deluxe for that same reason, which is that it's just the game ported over. There's something really different about it, and it's been...
But the second item adds so much.
What was that? Kidding.
I'm just kidding. I was mocking you. The second item adds so much.
It does. It really does add a lot, though. I totally deserve that mocking. That is something I do believe. But I totally see your point. But like with Hollow Knight being on PC and coming to console for the first time, it's being exposed to a lot of people that wouldn't have gotten a PC to play the game anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who the fuck cares? We make our own rules.
Well, Hollow Knight then is... I don't know. All right, just Hollow Knight and Celeste, no ordering. Just those two games. Just those two.
I like that they're both indies.
Yeah, I play a lot of really good indie games. I mean, if I'm being honest, Octopath Traveler is going to be on that list as well, but it didn't come out in the first half of the year, so...
You stupid, dumb Octopath.
So that's our year in review. Let's jump into our weekly forum.
Welcome to the weekly forum at Respawn Aim Fire. That's the theme song for weekly forum.
Is it really? Okay.
Yeah.
Our barf of the month, so our backlog accomplishment with Respawn and Friends for the month of July, presented by Chad, is Resident Evil.
You can play that however you like. PS1, PS2, PS3, PS4, GameCube, PC, Xbox, your mom's vagina.
The Engage Geo?
Nope, don't think that was a thing.
It wasn't? That was a thing.
You can play it as a PS1 classic on your PSP Go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so play it. That'll be on July 31st. We'll record that episode.
I just started playing that
2
today.
weeks. Nice. 2 weeks to get your impressions into us. That will count towards our participation trophy. So because we want to help you guys by supporting your game libraries, by giving you money, but also having you help us build a community of people, we have 3 ways that you can enter yourself into a raffle to win $20 each month towards the gaming service of your choice. One of them is by playing along with us. Send us a subscriber interrogative. Tell us your thoughts on our barf, like Resident Evil. Send us some fan art. Interact with us on Twitter. Pose us a question. Whatever the fuck it is. Just have fun with us. That'll enter you once a week. Give us a review on a podcast service of your choice. Send us a screenshot. Boom, you're entered again for that week. Refer a friend to us. Have them reach out and say, hey, so-and-so referred me to you guys. You sound like you probably have big penises. Thank you for the compliment. You both get an entry. At the end of the month, we'll tally them all up. Pick one at random. Boom, you get $20. Money. So please, yeah, help us spread the word about how great we are, and then by next summer, maybe we'll have become big enough to make it worth it to go to E3. We also have a poll that we do most Mondays. It ends on Tuesday, right around this time, so that we can share the results of that stupid poll. This one is a result of the cold open that we opened with this week about Nathan Fillion's Uncharted short film. The poll was, if they turned Nathan Fillion's Uncharted short film into a feature, who would you choose to play Chloe? Your 4 choices were Claudia Black, who was actually the voice actress for it, Zoe Saldana, Scarlett Johansson, and Samuel L. Jackson.
Before
you know who won?
Before you say who won, who do you think?
I voted for Claudia Black. One,
she's
because
the voice actress.
She's the voice actress, but also she's a pretty attractive lady in real life as well. And also, seeing Chloe in the game, like that's her voice, like that's part of what makes her sexy. And obviously, Claudia Black has a voice.
Okay, but is she as sexy
as Zoe Saldana? I know. Oh my god.
No, as Samuel Jackson. Samuel Jackson could really pull off the voice of Chloe.
You know, you're right.
I know.
What was I thinking?
I know. Little do you know, Samuel Jackson actually did the voice for Chloe.
You're an idiot. So no one voted for Zoe Saldana, which was surprising to me.
That is kind of surprising, actually.
We had 20% of the vote go to Claudia Black. We had 30% of the vote go to Samuel L. Jackson.
I voted there.
And then half of all voters wanted to whitewash Hollywood again with Scarlett Johansson.
Damn you, racist.
Damn
listeners.
you, racist. Jerson, by the way, King Snow, Jerson, AS us on Twitter, told us that Samuel L. Jackson would do a really good Chloe.
Yeah, he would. Thank you, Jerson.
Thank you, Jerson. You're so thoughtful. I agree. That was our poll for the week. Check back next Monday for whatever stupid thing I put out then. And finally, with our weekly forum, we have our subscriber interrogative, which this week comes from Smolden DeCardo.
That's me.
Holden,
So
would you read Smolden's question?
Yeah, I had the question. Smolden had a question, and that was, how much should development team size influence perception from critics or players?
Give us a little background on why you chose this question.
So I've been playing Hollow Knight, and I've been really blown away by it, and then I find out that it's made by 3 people. 3 people made that game, and it is like shockingly good. It plays really well. It's got great music. The upgrades are fantastic. The world's fun to explore. There's just so much content. It's a really, really good game. And I'm thinking, okay, but does the fact that it's made by 3 people make me like this game more? I already liked the game before I found out it was made by 3 people, but does that change my perception of it? And that got me thinking about a game like Octopath Traveler, which is probably made by a much, much bigger team of people. Does that mean I look at that game differently for its flaws? Like, do I forgive certain flaws in Hollow Knight, not that I've really found any, because there's a smaller team working on it? To the extreme of that, No Man's Sky was made by 4 people. 4 being made by 4 people, that's a good game, but it's not a good game. So I don't know. It's an interesting question. I don't have an answer for it, but I just thought it was interesting to think about.
I do feel like I have a pretty definitive feeling towards it, and my answer is no.
Okay.
The team size should not have an effect on the review score of a game. Why is that? Because the game itself, regardless of how many people bought it, regardless of how many people made it, can be a bad game. It's a good game, it's a bad game, and I think that it should be able to stand alone as a work of art. When you're sitting in the Sistine Chapel looking up, if you don't know, oh, Michelangelo did all of this by himself, or a whole team of artists came up here and each one did a different part of the roof, it doesn't matter. You still look at it and you're like, that's magnificent. That's incredible.
That's kind of where I've ended up too, for 2 reasons. One is I was thinking about, okay, well, if I saw a movie, right? Like I saw this movie called Unsane earlier this year.
All filmed on an iPhone 6S.
7 Plus. And I liked that movie a lot. I didn't like that movie because it was shot on an iPhone 7 Plus. That might have added to the kind of grained and uncomfortable tone of the movie, but I liked that movie because of the movie, not because of what camera shot the movie.
Yeah.
I'm sure it has a much smaller budget as a result, and they can do shots they couldn't have done otherwise. As a watcher of that movie, that means nothing to me. Like, all the cool things they could do with that iPhone that they can't do with regular cameras because of its size, I'm not really aware of that watching the movie. It doesn't matter to me. And I think at the same time, like, to go back to what you were saying, 3 people making a game is amazing because those 3 people put effort into making that game. 1,000 team people making a game is amazing because there's an organizational structure that has to be super efficient to get a game that's cohesive to come out.
Yeah.
I mean, you see a lot of games where odd decisions get made, and it might just be because communication wasn't great between different parts of the development team. Like, these teams can be massive. I think Mass Effect Andromeda was like 1,000-person team working on that game.
Yeah, across several studios.
And that game didn't turn out great, but it's probably because the organizational structures weren't there to make that game as good as it possibly could have been. So I think no matter what extreme you're on, whether that's a really small development team or a really big development team, there are challenges with both. So I've kind of settled on that, but I do think regardless of that, like, it shouldn't affect your review score of a game, but there is something to be said for, wow, Hollow Knight was made by 3 people.
Is it really incredibly impressive? Yes. But also, is the game good?
Yeah, like, no one playing the game for the first time being like, oh, I heard Hollow Knight was good because it was made by 3 people. No, they just heard Hollow Knight was a good game and they should play it.
Right. Interesting discussion.
Don't care about such things.
Thank you for bringing that up, Smolden.
Your opinions are always helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome. Remember that next time when we talk about Resident Evil Cloud version.
No. In that case, your opinions are invalid.
That concludes this week's episode of Respawn Aim Fire. Reach out to us on Twitter at Respawn Aim Fire, Instagram at Respawn Aim Fire, email respawnaimfire@gmail.com. participate in our participation award. Right now, it is a battle. 2 entries for Jerson, 2 entries for Fez. And I know there are a lot more of you. You can tell by the numbers that listen to this. Literally, all you have to do, like Jerson's reply on the tweet, on the poll that said, hey, I think Samuel L. Jackson would make a good choice. Boom. That could possibly win him $20. That's all you got to do. Reach out. Help us win the world. We love you. We'll see you next week.
A toodles.
A ciao.